This is Black Diamond's new ice tool, the Hydra. A standout feature of the Hydra is its flexibility. The picks, weights, bottom spike, hammer, and grip spacers are all interchangeable, so you can dial in the perfect setup for your specific mission. Now if we're talking capability of the Hydra, the geometry of the tool is optimized to handle steep climbs. Plus, the overmolded adjustable grip gives you the option to fine-tune the fit of the grip to your liking. Along with that, you can even adjust the head weights to dial in the penetration into the ice without changing the center of mass. It's also worth noting that the Hydras only come with an ice pick, so if you're looking to do a lot of mixed climbing or dry tooling, you'll have to pick up the mixed or dry pick separately. The Hydra truly gives you the ability to customize and optimize your tools for whatever the mountain throws at you. From steep ice walls to mixed terrain, this tool is built to perform.
Now, what's it like to climb with the Hydras? Well, the Hydra feels familiar, and yet it feels completely different. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it definitely has Black Diamond's DNA. I can tell you that, even though it looks like a Nomic. I mean, this tool swings very similarly to other BD tools, whether it's the Reactor, the Fuel, or even the Cobra. This tool definitely has the Black Diamond touch. And I find that more in when you go to swing the tool, it's not a motion where you're fully extending your wrist to swing the tool in. It's more like when you swing it and you get to about right here, you kind of stop and you let the tool do the rest. That's a very like Black Diamond ice tool swing. I mean, it was very apparent when I used the Cobras, and jumping to the Hydras, like the first day, I was like, oh, these swing just like the Cobras. So if you're familiar with Black Diamond's ice tools and their DNA, you're going to be pretty familiar with the Hydras. Now, if you're coming from a background of using like the Petzl Nomics, these tools will feel pretty similar, but slightly foreign, which is interesting because I think a lot of people's impression of the Hydra was it's just the green Nomic. And that's not true. I mean, this tool is its own tool. I mean, the fact that you're able to adjust the head weight, that's a thing on its own that is so big that would set this tool apart. But this tool does some other things too to really just set itself as, it's not exactly a clone, but it's just a really refined modern ice tool. Now, one of the areas where they were able to refine this tool was the pick. I mean, this pick is a really good pick. It doesn't look like it's anything special compared to like a Petzl pick, but coming from where they came from with their old ice pick that is pretty thick in comparison. I mean, this new pick goes down to 2.5 millimeters, which is pretty sick compared to this. Being able to have this much change in the picks and having it be noticeable when you're climbing, I mean, this pick clears way less ice than this one does. And it really is night and day difference. So having Black Diamond being able to go to this modern style pick was pretty game changer. I mean, this has been the standard for Black Diamond for a long time. And for them to create a whole new system and do it pretty dang well, I mean, that's impressive. But even though that they changed the geometry of the pick and they made it more streamlined and it definitely penetrates easier and it displaces a lot less ice, I personally found that this pick has a little unique problem. And it's not like a big problem, it's just a problem that I found when I've been using the Hydra in especially wet ice. I find that the coating that's on this pick it's more of like a matte textured coating. I'm having a feeling that this coating is making it so when you're climbing on wet ice, it makes the pick freeze to the ice a little bit. Because by far, this has been one of the harder tools to get out of the ice once it's in. When you're climbing and you're making your progression, I found that oftentimes when I'm using the Hydra, I get stopped in my progression because I cannot get the tool out. And it's not like I'm over sinking the tool to the head. I'm like sinking the tool to like right here. And it's just not wanting to come out. And I can only think that it's the coating on the pick that's making it this way. And is that a big deal? I mean, it's an irritation. I kind of wondered too that if you took a file and took that base coat off, if it would change anything. Maybe I'll have to do that later. But I mean, it's not a big thing, but it's one of those small little things where you're like, huh, that's an interesting little quirk. But I mean, overall, I'm not hitting down dinner plates every time I swing, so I like that. So, I mean, is it a big deal? Not really, but it is just one of those little things I did notice about using the Hydra. Now, if we're going to be talking about things that I noticed about the Hydra, we've got to talk about the head weights, because this was a point of the Hydra that I thought was going to be more of a marketing gimmick. I thought, why would you need to have the ability to change the weight of the tool? Like, I was more going off of, well, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And you just work around that tool. Like, this is similar with the Nomic. You just get pick weights. You don't get to adjust how heavy they are. But I will say that being able to use the interchangeable weight, especially in scenarios where we got hit with negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit weather and it got just bulletproof dense ice, being able to throw the heavy weights on the Hydra and being able to get one swing sticks into the ice was so amazing. I mean, whenever we've gotten hit with that weather previously and we've gone out to climb, whenever I've used the Nomics or ergonomics, I'm swinging like 6 to 7 times just to get the tool in. And half the time it's not even in. Whereas when I put the heavy weights on the Hydra, like I said, it was a one swing stick and my goodness, did they vibrate whenever they went in. It was probably the most satisfying thing I've had while ice climbing. I mean, these tools like to vibrate when they get in. It's so cool. But the ability to be able to switch the weights depending on the ice condition is actually pretty huge for me. I think that's actually something that can come in handy, especially when you're kind of taking into account all the different variables that you might be seeing. Like if you're dealing with south-facing climbs that get a lot of sun, they're really soft, or Uray, or if you're dealing with a picked out area like highlight, there's no really reason to use heavy weights. Like you'd be looking at a medium weight to a lightweight because you're not really worrying about the spots that you're going to swing, because if you're just hooking the whole time or it's very soft ice, you don't need a lot of effort to get the tool in. Whereas the general all-purpose weight, you can throw a lightweight and a heavyweight to make a medium weight. And this weight's very similar to the Nomic weight. So for me, being able to transition from the Nomic to the Hydra, I mean, the weight of them in the medium weight setup felt very similar. And I didn't really notice anything other than the difference in swing. So it is really cool that you can switch up the weight dependent on the condition. So like I said, I thought at first that was going to be a gimmick. It's definitely not. And I think it's a pretty strong suit for the tool. And it's really cool to see that Black Diamond was able to do it and that they were able to do it so well. Now, probably one of the last areas about this tool that I've noticed for performance for climbing is the handle. The handle is interesting. It's not a fully open handle like the Nomic, and it's got definitely a section right here where it is solid. I prefer a more solid handle. I dislike whenever you have an open handle and you can get like a finger into the handle. That drives me nuts because I tend to do that on climbs a lot, and it's just not fun when that happens. So I generally prefer a solid handle, but I will say that overall, I like this handle more than the Nomic handle, but I wish it was slightly smaller. And I know I might be in the minority with this just because I have smaller hands, but on the smallest setting of the handle, I have that much more room. And I wish it was just tighter like the Nomic. That's just a personal preference. And granted, if I was wearing my like thicker gloves, this would be the perfect size, but when I'm wearing like my IceJoy comp gloves for dry tooling or mixed climbing or just ice climbing, like I've got a lot of room in the handle. And like I said, personally, I like a smaller handle, but I will say overall, like ergonomics of the handle, it's really nice. I mean, Black Diamond was able to avoid the notorious nub right here that's on a lot of handles. I hate that nub, and I'm so glad that if anything, they had this just tiny one, but it's so tiny and so subtle that you don't even really notice it. And I think the ergonomics of this handle is pretty good. I just wish that it was a little bit smaller, but that's just me. So overall, the Hydra is not just a clone. I can tell you that. It's definitely its own tool. And it's a tool that's made me really consider what I want to be climbing with next season and future seasons, as I look at the ability to change the head weights as a pretty big thing. In addition to that, I'm also looking at possibly switching out the pick to something like a Beartooth Alpine pick. And I feel like the Hydra offers something really special for people who want to get third-party picks, as you'll be able to use the head weight system with a different pick. Now, I mean, if you have used Petzl tools or any other type of tool on the market that has weights, if you don't have an aftermarket pick that has the slots for the weights, you can't use the pick weights. Whereas that's not a problem with the Hydra. You're able to use the head weights regardless, and that's something that's could be really beneficial. Like I said, I'm looking at getting a Beartooth Alpine pick, and I think it'd be a sick pick to have with the head weights. I think you could do a lot of cool things with it. So the Hydra offers some really cool customization options there that not a lot of tools will give you. Along with that, I also look at the Hydra as the efficiency tool. And that's because, as I mentioned, they swing like a Black Diamond tool, but what's more apparent with the Hydra compared to like the Cobra or anything else is that these tools require so little effort to get into the ice. I mean, when I've been around some other people who have climbed with this tool, a lot of their comments is it's just so easy to get in. And that's the big thing that I can say about the Hydra, is it's such a low effort tool to get into the ice and get good sticks. And if you're talking about efficiency, and especially efficiency on bigger routes, that can come in handy. I mean, if you're talking about routes that go on for thousands of feet, you don't want to be swinging a whole lot. And I feel like the Hydras could offer an advantage there. So I definitely know that I'll be doing a lot of consideration this off season and going into future seasons if I want to use the Hydra as my main ice climbing tool. I definitely think it's that good. Ooh.